Are you tired of dealing with back pain and tightness in the hips on a daily basis? Hey, I'm Coach Dom, owner of Breakthrough Fitness, Oviedo, Florida. Today I'm going to show you 3 exercises that you can do daily that only take about 5 minutes to reduce that back pain, loosen up the hips, and have you feeling better throughout your day. So lower back pain or tightness usually stems from tight hip flexors, weak abdomen, and weak muscles of the glutes. Hamstrings get super tight as well. So the first stretch I want to show you is, I call it a tabletop piriformis stretch. We're going to put a leg on a bench or a chair. A couch works really well, the bed, anything like that. It's great in the work environment. Maybe you're in your office and you can't really get down on the ground, or you're in business attire. You can easily just hike up your slacks a little bit and get into this position and get a good stretch while at work. Take a break from being on that desk. So here's how we do it. You're going to put your left leg up on that implement I mentioned. You're going to be in this position. Now this might be all you need. You might be getting a really good stretch here in the glute and on this hip. Okay? If not, you just simply lean down a little bit into that stretch. You can get that back leg out straight. And we're going to hold this for about 20 seconds. And just kind of relax into that stretch. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and switch sides. Okay, and we're going to go 20 seconds here. You can kind of move it around a little bit. Just kind of feel that stretch. It should feel mostly in the glute and the butt, the hip, outside of the hip. Then we're going to repeat it one more time each side. Sinking into that stretch. You should feel a little looser each time you do each repetition, each stretch. There you have it. Do that stretch a few times a day. You're not going to overdo it. Help to release the glutes and loosen up the hips to reduce that back pain. The next stretch we're going to do is a combination of 2 stretches. One we call a hip crossover. That's really going to loosen the lower back rotational. And the second one I call a hamstring switch. And I'm going to demonstrate both. Okay, so we're going to get on the back on a mat. Knees up in this position, feet together flat, arms just relaxed. We're going to let the knees fall together to one side, and don't force them to the ground. If that right there is fine, tighten up the stomach, bring it back to the middle, over to the other side, and ease into the stretch. Don't force the stretch. Let it just kind of loosen up the lower back. So you'll see I'm not going too far down, and then eventually I'll go a little further as the lower back loosens up. So I'm going to go here for about 30 to 45 seconds, loosening up that lower back, and then I'm going to really hit the hamstrings. They tend to get super tight from whether it's activity or just sitting all day. They get shortened and don't get used. We need to really stretch those hamstrings, the back of the leg out. So I might be about 30 seconds right now. I'm going to just let them fall to one side for a few seconds. Get a nice stretch on that lower back, relax. Tighten up the abdomen, bring it back to the middle, let it fall to the other side. Good, then we're going to stop back in the middle and go into that hamstring switch. So feet are in that same position that we started that hip crossover. I'm going to put my left leg in the air, nice and straight. So I'm almost at a 90-degree angle. If you're here with your leg locked straight, that's fine. Just start there. Be there, toes pointing this way. You're trying to bring that leg back towards you, okay? So that's where we start. Hold it for about 5 seconds. Bring it down, and the other one comes up. Get a nice stretch for 5 seconds. Then we'll do one more here. Even give yourself a little gentle assistance here. That knee can be here. You can put that leg out straight. Good, bring that one down. And we're up here. Good, then finish, and you can go back into that hip crossover. And then maybe another 30 seconds of the hip crossover. And then I like to finish with a hip extension. So one bridge, you push through your heels, get those glutes up, hips are extended. You've been sitting a long time, your hips are in a flex position. This is the opposite of that. It's activating the glutes, it's extending those hips, firing up those glutes, getting a good stretch here. About 30 seconds in this position. And then you can go back about your day, your work, whatever it is. All right, you can do that a few times throughout the day. All right, the third stretch I want to show you is the hip flexor stretch. It's going to really stretch the front of the hips up top here through the quadricep, the front of the legs. We're going to start by taking a knee down on, usually I like to do it on some kind of mat, pillow if you're at home, something soft to give your knee a little bit of protection. So we take a kneeling position like this, where we have a 90-degree angle here and here. So from here, we start by tightening up the stomach. We learn to tuck the tail, if you understand that. We like to say a kind of a sad dog. You kind of tuck your tail, that flexes this glute. With that flex, this muscle is going to relax a little bit. So we flex here and we lean in, and you should feel that stretch right there. Okay? Once we get there and we're comfortable with that, we can lean in a little further into that stretch. And you're going to hang out. Maybe 30 seconds. We can raise the arm. We can reach a little bit. The important thing to do is keep that glute tight, lean in, stomach drawn in, so we're not doing all this where we're extending in the lower back. We're trying to just focus on that hip. So that glute tight, lean in, stomach tight. 30 seconds, and then we would switch legs. Same thing, tighten up that right glute, lean into that stretch. Tall posture here. You can push your hands into that knee, really get that upper body vertical. You're going to feel that in that hip a little bit more. Now, if you want to progress this stretch, and that feels good and you're not getting the amount of stretch you like, we can use a bench or a chair. Just be careful to start with a lower height and work your way to something a little higher. So you'll see I'm going to put my foot up on that bench, right on the edge, and get my knee to the ground. So right now my knee is here, my foot's back here. Now you may be feeling this stretch a lot when you get into this position, leaning in. That might be where you're at. Now you need more and more of a stretch. You try to get this knee back under your foot as much as you can. Get nice and tall, lean in, and you're going to feel a lot more stretch here. So a more advanced position, start with the knee on the ground, your foot on the ground behind you, not on the bench, and then you progress to something along these lines. This is great if you're watching TV, put your foot on the edge of the couch, get in this position, kind of just hang out. You can rock a little bit, just make sure that glute's tight, stomach's tight. Maybe 30 seconds, a minute, switch to the other leg. Go back and forth a few times while you're watching TV, and you're gonna really loosen up those hips. Do that daily. There's 3 stretches that you can add into your daily routine that's gonna loosen up the hips, relieve, eliminate that lower back pain and that hip tightness. The thing about stretching is consistency. You have to do this on a daily basis, and over time you're going to see that lower back's going to feel better, those hips are going to feel better, and you won't have the same stiffness and tightness that you've been dealing with in the past. I've learned that strengthening the body and stretching the body are the 2 most important things we need to do as we get older. If you're interested in learning more about how to properly strength train and stretch the body, click the link below and download our ultimate guide to strength training after 50. If you like this video and want to see more like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. I'm Coach Dom, owner of Breakthrough Fitness. Keep moving.